What's up, everybody? Jon Anik here with MyMMANews, and today's guest will be teaming up with Modelo and DraftKings to put on a great experience for the fans out there. A great contest coming your way that you'll be able to be involved with several UFC events coming up here in the future. This contest, by the way, for all the fans interested, will run February 2nd through April 15th. So before we start getting into the details of this giveaway here, let's welcome today's guest, who is UFC play-by-play commentator Jon Anik. Jon, thanks for being here, man. Really appreciate it. This is a great giveaway. Thanks for being here to talk about it.
Thank you, my man. It's great to be with you. This is a very exciting time to be a UFC fan, and I think Modelo is kind of taking even that up a notch. So I'm pretty excited to be on board.
So let's tell the fans about this contest, right? So for all the fans out there, there will be an opportunity to attend 10 UFC pay-per-view events with floor seating. Grand prize winner gets a meet and greet with you on a fight night there. Just talk about this giveaway and how excited you are to be a part of it.
Well, we'll get to the meet and greet and all of the cool behind-the-scenes stuff that is a part of this grand prize in a minute, but in the nature of not burying the lead, this prize package from Modelo and DraftKings is absolutely absurd, brother. I mean, listen to this package. Now, everybody knows Modelo is the longtime official beer of the UFC. They've heard me say brewed for those with a fighting spirit a million times in my career. So I was very excited to be a part of this with Modelo, but I wanted to make sure that the grand prize was really floor seats to 10 pay-per-views in a calendar year. Because oftentimes when you think about these amazing prize sweepstakes for sports fans, oh, you get to go to the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship game or the Final Four, but you don't get to go to 10 Super Bowls. And essentially what Modelo and DraftKings have put on paper for the winner is the opportunity of a lifetime for a UFC fan of whatever age. You're going to probably go to 15 championship fights in a calendar year. You have floor seats to 10 pay-per-views. You'll get to meet the broadcast team, some behind-the-scenes stuff with me, get your own fighter walkout. I mean, there are a million different parts to this golden ticket promotion, and the winner is going to be richly rewarded. But the fact that you're going to be on the floor for the biggest UFC championship fights, not just once or twice, but for a full calendar year, is a prize package unlike any that I've ever seen for a sports fan. So needless to say, my man, we're pretty excited.
Yeah, a lot of great things going on for the fans there. And just talk too about Modelo and some of the great things they've been doing. Like, I know recently I had Michael Chiesa on, and they helped him out with helping out local veterans in his community, getting new equipment for a gym. I mean, a lot of great things that they're doing for this whole entire MMA community.
And really, since their alignment with the UFC, they have just been wonderful partners. I think anybody who has ingested any of the commercial spots that they've done with Stipe Miocic or Amanda Nunes or just your average Joe, you know, there's something about their messaging and their company that just resonates with people. And, you know, even when I punch that line, you know, brewed for those with a fighting spirit, you know, I think a lot of us who are UFC fans feel like to whatever degree we have that fighting spirit in us as we sort of attack our everyday lives. And even though maybe I didn't attack my workout today quite as hard as a fighter would, you know, I do think that the Modelo messaging in the company has resonated with me. So I'm certainly thankful that the UFC and Modelo have been aligned, and obviously very exciting that DraftKings and Modelo were able to creatively come up with something like this to reward, you know, the ultimate UFC fan.
So one fan will get to spend a event with you, seeing all the behind the scenes looks. I mean, great opportunity for that fan, but I obviously want you to touch on that and what that's going to be like, but also just talk too about meeting all these different UFC fans over the course of the last few years, because really not only just the UFC, but the MMA community in general, just it's a great community, a lot of great fans out there.
Well, you're in the community and you can obviously speak to it probably as well as I can. The one thing that I would add is that as impassioned as this fan base was pre-COVID, I feel like it's gone up another level. I feel like domestically, our imprint in the States is just much broader than it was pre-COVID. Mostly for those first few months, we were the only show in town. And I feel like our sport just has reached different people in the US than it was reaching before. And so then when fans were welcomed back in the building, it just felt different, man. I don't know how else to describe it. It sounds trite. It just felt louder. It felt even more close-knit. I don't have to tell you that the fans are the lifeblood of this sport. And, you know, when you work for somebody as demanding as Dana White, you know, it can be a challenge. And it's been the fan base that has sort of lifted me up and kept me confident, you know, at times where maybe my confidence wasn't as high as it should be. So I feel a tremendous kinship with the fan base. And I can't honestly think of any better opportunities to sort of reward a lot of these people than with an opportunity like this. But yeah, man, being back with fans after spending a year and a half at the Apex, I'm certainly not worried about germs when I'm shaking hands these days, brothers. I can tell you that.
Well, it's great that one fan's going to get to experience everything with you. But for all the fans out there, we'll try to at least paint them a little picture of what kind of this experience is going to be like. Just talk about like what it's like for you on a typical, not only fight night, but fight week, because I know there's a lot of preparation that goes into it. There's production meetings with the athletes. Then obviously you're not just showing up right before the cameras roll on and start talking to people. There's a whole lot of different production things that go on there. You're at the arena real early. So what's a typical fight week kind of look like for you?
Well, man, I'm kind of hoping that whoever wins the grand prize, when they're sitting in my hotel room as I'm pre-voicing elements, I hope they turn to me and say, man, I thought you guys just kind of showed up and talked, so I can sort of let them know just how much goes into this show that really doesn't have to do with fighting. But my preparation probably starts 10 days out. I'm voicing UFC 271 on February 3rd. The show is not until February 12th. We'll do a lot of pickups during fight week. So whoever wins the grand prize will be with me as I'm doing some of that stuff. As long as the fighters are okay with it, this winner is going to be able to sit in with me on a fighter meeting, which is really unique. We have never afforded that opportunity to a fan before. Just to hear some of the stuff that is said to us off the record that's only for the broadcast, I think can be very cool and revealing, especially for a diehard UFC fan that kind of knows the inner workings of what goes into a broadcast. You'll be with me backstage at the weigh-in. You'll be with me on set as I record UFC Live for ESPN. We're going to do a walkout for you, so you might be able to sit with me in the broadcast booth and, do a mock fighter walkout. We're going to give you a video of yourself walking out if you've got the courage to do that. It's truly an all-encompassing package, and obviously all of that, is a distant second or third to the 10 floor seats for the pay-per-views. But yeah, man, this is a crazy, crazy package that Modelo's put together.
And John, I don't know if you ever heard this saying before, but I'm going to say it to you because I know you're going to appreciate it. The great basketball coach John Wooden once said, "Failing to prepare is preparing to fail." I live by that whenever I prepare for an interview, that I always make sure to have the best product available to put out to everybody. And I know you probably could relate to that too, because you work so hard and your preparation is amazing. What's a preparation period like for you? And how do you store all that memory in your brain there? Because it's a hard thing to remember all that type of stuff.
Well, part of the reason, and some people think my system is antiquated, but part of the reason why I handwrite all of my fighter cards and I do a new fighter card for every fighter for every fight is because a lot of this stuff doesn't stick to memory. And when I'm in a back-to-back situation, I have to bury the previous show so quickly to move on to the next one that oftentimes a few weeks later, someone says, "Oh, you remember that prelim at UFC 271? And it's like, brother, I love you, but I don't remember a minute of that fight. It's on to the next. As Bill Belichick says, it's on to Cincinnati. And that's kind of the way we have to approach it. When I look at UFC 271, we got 15 fights. That's 30 athletes, and then 14 fights the following week, right? So if my math is right, I have 58 fighters that I need to learn in a span of 8 or 9 days. So for me, there's not going to be a lot of recreational time in Houston. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. And, that's what we do for the athletes. The least I can do for these athletes that are putting it all on the line is to show up and be prepared. And, I think that for me, film study is a big part of what I do. If a show got delayed 5 hours, even though cram is sort of a negative verb in the broadcasting space, but if there was a blackout and I got 5 extra hours to prepare, I could certainly make good use of that time, watch another interview, read another interview. There's always more that you can do. And I think that's why I do have a lot of anxiety when it comes to preparing for these shows. But my system may be old-fashioned. It hasn't failed me yet.
Hey, I do that too. I handwrite everything out and I look down at my notes constantly. And I know you have other media obligations to get to today, so I just have 2 other things that I wanted to ask you about real quick. The first is, whenever you're capturing these moments, right, you can be so poetic with the way you describe things with these one more sleep, or all hell is breaking loose when the Khabib and Conor thing happened, when Max Holloway won the championship, Hawaii stand up. How are you able to capture these moments so perfectly? And then also along these lines too, I see a lot of times that it happens a lot in football where people will give Joe Buck a hard time. You guys have such a hard job. It is not an easy thing. As a guy that has a degree in journalism from Lock Haven University, I tell people, it is a hard thing to be there in that moment, in that time, remembering people's names, numbers, everything that goes into it. It's a very difficult job, and people don't realize how hard it is.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I mean, there's certainly plenty of people that don't like me. We're trying to be as listenable as possible for 8 hours, and that truly is the goal. You know, we're not trying to annoy anybody, and we're trying to objectively call it the way we see it, which may not be the way that people at home see it all the time. But I take the championship moments very seriously. You know, my first 5 years with the company, I wasn't the number one guy. I wasn't calling a lot of title fights. And I think it was valuable developmental time for me to really cut my teeth and figure out exactly how I wanted to cap fights, so that when I got the chance to call the pay-per-views and the big fights, you know, I was mentally prepared to do it. Because these moments have to withstand the test of time. You know, you're providing the historical context for when Glover Teixeira at 42 years old breaks through and becomes the UFC light heavyweight champion. He's going to show that to his friends and family for years to come. And I want the call to be original. You know, I don't want it to just be some catchphrase, that'll do it, every goddamn time somebody finishes a fight. That's not the way I operate. I never think about what I'm going to say. And while some of the fight ending calls have been better than others, we want them all to live organically for that moment, whether it's, you know, Poland, your guy got it done for Jan Blachowicz, or Glover Teixeira breaks through at 42, whatever it is. I want it to be unique to that moment. And, you know, as humbly as I can say to you, I think by and large, over the last 5 or 6 years of doing the pay-per-views, we have succeeded.
All right, and one last thing for you here. I'm a Keystone State guy. I'm in Brian Stan's hometown area of Scranton, PA. You have some Keystone roots yourself there, right, with Gettysburg College. Go ahead and give a shout out to the alma mater there.
Oh, the Gettysburg Bullets in Gettysburg College, Pennsylvania. Thankfully, they're still called the Bullets, at least right now. But you're jogging my memory, man. I got a lot of love for Pennsylvania. You know, not the Philadelphia sports teams, though, because all my buddies from either New Jersey or Philadelphia were diehard Eagles and Phillies fans. So no love lost for the Birds, but shout out to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I got to get back there. I haven't been back there in 22 years. So I am overdue to get back to PA.
Jon, you're always welcome back into Keystone State anytime you want. One last thing now before you roll out. You want to go ahead and plug your social media. Obviously, you and Kenny Florian do a great podcast together, the Anik and Florian podcast. I listen to that very often. You guys do such great work with that. So go ahead, plug the podcast, plug your social media, and any closing words you want to give.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, the Anik and Florian podcast is live every Monday. We tape it on Sundays, but audio and the video is on YouTube. And I just appreciate the support from the fan base so much, especially when it comes to this promotion with DraftKings and Modelo, because I'm not saying that they're never going to do it again, my man, but to trot out a promotion in which you're giving away floor seats to 10 pay-per-views, it's unprecedented, and I'm not sure it's ever going to happen again. So I'm excited that Modelo has brought me on board, and I think it's going to be a pretty cool thing for UFC fans around the States.
All right, Jon, thanks so much for the time here today, man. Really appreciate it. I know you have other media obligations. I'll let you run off to those. So thanks for the time. Also, thanks to Modelo, DraftKings, the UFC. Great package being put on here for all of the fans. And to all the fans out there, too, if you like today's interview, please make sure you go to the bottom and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you're interested in this contest and this giveaway here, I will put the instructions of how you get involved with it in this description. There's a few steps that you're going to have to follow. It starts obviously with DraftKings, and you'll be able to follow it down through. Again, the contest runs February 2nd through April 15th, so make sure you guys get involved in the contest, and make sure you guys will keep going to MyMMANews to see all of our great content. Also, there will be more information on this giveaway too at MyMMANews.com as well. We'll see you later, everybody.